Now, this is one of the last few exhibits here, and what is this?
This is his The History of Java. It's a very interesting copy because it's the a copy that is illustrated in Joseph's portrait of Raffles, in which you see it on the table. And it's exactly, what's remarkable is that when you look at the actual portrait in the portrait gallery in London, the colours are real there, whereas the colours that are reproduced in reproductions of that don't show up. But when you see the original portrait, you see the colours match absolutely exactly. I tell the story in the book as to how it became into the Reverend Thomas Raffles' possession. He was supposed to collect another copy and he didn't. And Raffles left all his books with him when he went to Sumatra. And so that's a nice copy too, and very, very full. That size of the History of Java was produced in only 250 copies. So it's rare in its own right. You get this handsome size.
We're quite lucky he didn't bring it with him to Sumatra. It wouldn't have survived the humidity.
Well, one's always puzzled about that, why he left his books behind, or a large number of his books behind. You would think he'd want them, but I think he was a bit fed up with the History of Java. He always was disparaging about in his remarks about the book, saying he's no bookmaker.
He wrote it himself?
But he wrote, yes, he wrote it himself. He had his Javanese assistant, Raden Ranadipura, who brought from Java with him to assist, and he probably was of great assistance. But the work on the Portuguese sources he appears to have done himself from a Portuguese library in London. It's a great compilation. And what we must interject here is that a lot of people go wrong about this, that you find in the second volume of Raffles' history, this is the 1817 first edition, lazy commentators, and I must say lazy historians, quote often from the second volume as if they're Raffles' own words. But if you study carefully, there are large excerpts from the works of Dr. Thomas Horsfield and others. And so one must be very careful using that second volume as to what's Raffles' words and what he's quoting.
And he doesn't footnote it.
Actually, yes.
But it is interesting that even then he already did so much work and he sort of despised it after.
Well, not exactly despised. I don't think that. I think probably secretly he was quite proud of his work, but he always wrote disparagingly of it. I think the feeling was he could have. No, well, I think he could have felt he could have done better. This was he began work on the History of Java beforehand, collecting materials. And when he got to London, he was so overwhelmed with social engagements and everything else that trying to fit in time to write a book like this was very difficult for him. And I think he felt, that if he had greater leisure and greater time, he would have produced something better. And I think that's the reason he talks this way. But I don't think he would ever say that it was serious disparagement.